Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to another episode of China Update, where I provide you with the most up-to-date political, economic, and geostrategic analysis on the world's #2 economy. My name is Tony. Let's jump in. Now, I said we were going to take today off, but there are just several important developments that we need to cover, and I need to begin with a correction. Yesterday, we discussed US President-elect Trump's National Security Advisor pick, Mike Waltz, who I said was a member of the Select Committee on the strategic competition between the US and the Chinese Communist Party. That was incorrect. I made a mistake when compiling my notes. My apologies for the error. Now, with that correction, let's move into the episode, and regrettably, we begin today with a very tragic event. According to local state media and police, at a sports center in Zhuhai in southern China, a very large city on the Pearl River Delta, on Monday evening, a 62-year-old man drove his car into a track, intentionally mowing down almost 100 people and killing at least 35. The Zhuhai Sports Center's outdoor areas are frequented by local residents who dance, run, and walk on weekday nights. On the night of the incident, 6 groups of power walkers, an activity popular among the elderly, with around 10 to 50 people each, were present. Videos circulating online show an SUV plowing through one power walking group before making a sharp turn towards another group, leaving dozens of people on the ground. On Tuesday morning, searches for the incident were heavily censored on Chinese social media platforms. A search on Weibo for the sports center turned up only a few posts with a couple referring to the fact something had happened without pictures or details. Articles by Chinese media about the incident from Monday night were taken down. We only have official state media statements and a few okayed non-state media stories. Because of this, we were slow to get details, and we also cannot be certain just how many of these mass killing events have occurred this year, as some have successfully been censored. Earlier this year, a bus rammed into a crowd near a middle school in Tai'an in East China's Shandong province, killing 11 people. In March, another car careered into a group of school children in Dezhou, Shandong province as well, killing 2 and injuring 6. There has also been dozens of smaller knife and similar attacks. It is unclear why this older man did this. Early Chinese reports said that he was angry about the financial settlement he got from his divorce, though later reports removed this language. General Secretary Xi Jinping himself reacted to the incident, issuing a statement urging all-out efforts to treat the victims and, quote, emphasize the importance of resolving disputes in time, preventing the occurrence of extreme cases, and making every effort to safeguard the security of people's lives and social security, end quote. Veteran China analyst Bill Bishop made several notable comments on the political implications of the incident. Quote, that exhortation from Xi reminded me of Secretary of Central Political and Legal Affairs Commission Chen Wenqing recently chaired a meeting to implement General Secretary Xi Jinping's important instructions on upholding and developing the Fengqiao experience in the new era. It focused on researching and formulating opinions on strengthening the standardized construction of comprehensive social security governance centers, improving mechanisms for properly handling internal contradictions among the people under new circumstances, and enhancing both the legal resolution of conflicts and the standardization of comprehensive social security governance. The top leadership may be more willing to tolerate economic pain because they believe they can manage the social stresses and contradictions that intensify in economic downturns. But clearly something got them worried ahead of the September Politburo meeting. And so, in addition to the various stabilization measures rolled out since late September, there will also be more focus on social stability work. End quote. This tragedy in Zhuhai is likely the biggest mass murder committed by one individual since a China Eastern pilot intentionally flew his plane into the ground in 2022, killing himself and over 130 other people. Next up, today, Wednesday, Xi Jinping left Beijing for his trip to Latin America. The General Secretary will be visiting Peru for APEC, where he is expected to have meetings with President Biden, and Brazil for the G20. As a lame duck president, we shouldn't expect anything of substance from the Biden-Xi meeting. Beijing, like the world, is looking ahead to a second Trump term in the White House. Peru and China are expected to sign an updated free trade agreement during the visit. She will be accompanied with a delegation of 400 business people interested in investing in infrastructure and technology projects in the country. As state-run Zhuhai reminds us today, quote, "Over the past decade, China and Latin America have become partners under the Belt and Road Initiative proposed by Xi. So far, 22 countries in the region have signed Belt and Road cooperation documents with China. Projects jointly built under the Belt and Road Initiative, including the Belo Monte hydroelectric power ultra-high voltage transmission line in Brazil, Argentina's Belgrano Cargas Railway, and the Jamaica North-South Highway, have borne fruit." End quote. Next up, we move to US-China, and as President-elect Trump's cabinet lineup takes shape, it's increasingly clear that the new US leader sees a much more confrontational approach to China ahead. Eric Sayers, managing director of the Beacon Global Strategies consultancy, expressed this week, quote, "This is like Christmas morning for China hawks." End quote. We will unpack this next, but just quickly, if you're getting some value from today's episode, don't forget to hit the like button. Liking, sharing, and subscribing are tremendous helps for the channel. It's the only way in which the channel can grow and be shown to new people. It's only a couple of clicks of the mouse, but it's a tremendous help for me and is deeply appreciated. Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee links are also in the description for those who want to help keep the channel financially sustainable. The channel is primarily supported by you, the subscribers. I limit sponsored features to make sure that it's primarily subscriber support, and I want to continue making all episodes open and free for all, and so very much rely on this sort of support. So this is a tremendous help as well. President-elect Trump has chosen former Deputy of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe to be the director of the CIA, who is on record as saying he thinks COVID likely leaked from a lab in Wuhan. Yesterday, we also discussed Trump's national security advisor pick, Mike Waltz, who was on record as saying the US is in a Cold War with China and that military and other resources need to be shifted from Europe and the Middle East to China. Soon after this announcement, several outlets, including US-based The New York Times, reported that Marco Rubio is the favorite for the Secretary of State pick. As of the writing of this video, it is not confirmed whether it will be him or not, and this could change in the coming hours. But for now, all we can say is that he appears to be one of the favorites. Rubio, who is known for his hardline China policy, was sanctioned twice by Beijing in 2020, first in retaliation for US measures against senior Chinese officials over the treatment of the Uyghur minority group in Xinjiang, and again after mainland and Hong Kong officials were sanctioned following the 2019 protests in Hong Kong. Now, picking an official that has been sanctioned by Beijing, at the very least, creates some awkward diplomatic and political challenges for China. James Downs, head of politics and political administration at Hong Kong Metropolitan University, expressed this week, quote, "Rubio's appointment could signal a more confrontational approach by the United States towards China in diplomatic relations." End quote. Mike Gallagher, a former Republican Congress member who headed the House China Committee, said that the appointments of Waltz and Rubio should send a message to Beijing that, quote, "the era of accommodation is over," end quote. We note that foreign policy experts are watching closely to see what role Trump's ally Elon Musk will play and whether the billionaire will seek to tamper Trump on China, where he has a Tesla factory. Meanwhile, US-based The Washington Post, in a new piece this week, suggests that Trump is indeed expected to try to halt the TikTok ban. Kellyanne Conway, who ran Trump's first presidential campaign, reportedly told the outlet, quote, "He appreciates the breadth and reach of TikTok, which he used masterfully, along with podcasts and new media, to win. There are many ways to hold China to account outside alienating 180 million US users each month. Trump recognized early on that Democrats are the party of bans, gas-powered cars, menthol cigarettes, vapes, plastic straws, and TikTok, and let them own that draconian anti-personal choice space." End quote. We note too, however, that Jeff Yass, a big Trump donor, is also a major shareholder of TikTok. Now, I wanted to end today's video with an excerpt from a piece published this week by Zhu Hai, Executive Dean of Nanjing University School of International Studies. This gives us a feel of how Chinese academics and elite in Beijing are discussing all of this. So we will end with these observations from the Chinese side of things. Quote, As the power balance between China and the United States approaches parity, the US has firmly identified China as its greatest adversary, making substantial easing of Sino-US tensions difficult in the short to medium term. The essence of great power politics revolves around power, wealth, and technology, leading to endless competition. However, the conflicts and tensions between China and the US must be properly managed and reasonably alleviated, with the primary goal of avoiding escalation and uncontrollable deterioration. To achieve this, it is crucial for both sides to avoid crossing each other's intolerable red lines. Trump's re-election is unlikely to bring substantial adjustments and changes to US policy towards China. Defining China as the greatest strategic competitor began in the first term in 2017. The outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 became the final straw that broke Sino-US relations. During nearly 4 years of the Biden administration, US policy towards China essentially adopted Trumpism without Trump. And the Trump 2.0 era, US policy towards China will continue the aggressive suppression and containment. Suppressing China's strategic competitiveness and reopening the power gap between the US and China will be the continued strategy of the Trump administration in its second term, while reducing US dependencies on Chinese supply chains, launching a second wave of trade wars against China, and targeting China with domineering trade protectionism are highly probable events. End quote. Okay, that is today's episode of China Update. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Have a good Wednesday, and I will either see you tomorrow, or if we take a break, on Friday.